welcome back. This is our final hour of the 2-day marathon. I am so glad you were able to join us for the 5 segments. And just to recap, we spoke about the lost girls, let her know it's okay to let go. And what that really meant was that so many of us, women, goddesses, are feeling like they're not enough. And Millie shared a lot of information to show us and to tell us and to guide us and giving us tips on how we can start to step into our goddess nature unapologetically by realizing that we are enough. Then the second segment talked about birthing a new age woman. What does that look like? No longer living from generational labels, but defining who we are today and stepping into that unapologetically. We also talk about a new age woman living without apologies, and that was the point where we made a decision to move forward, not to be defined nor not to be confined, but decide for ourselves what does that mean to be a woman living unapologetically. And we know we can do it because we have the power. We get to choose how we will show up in our lives today. And then earlier this morning, we talk about empowering women to be business owners. There are many women out there considering or already in business, and they're contemplating, whether do I want to continue. Some may be having several challenges, and Vera shared a lot of information on how you can know for sure, how you can prepare and step into being a woman business owner that is very successful. And right now, our next topic is a bright new future for 21st century goddesses born to win. Before I introduce our special guest, Miss Teckela Green, I just want to for you to think about a moment. Collaboration is important, connection is important as women. We are goddesses, and like I mentioned yesterday, and this is my mindset. We are goddesses. We are born this way. We don't need to act like a lady and think like a man. That's not where we want to go with this, because that's a disempowering plan mentally, to focus on someone else. Then when we have time to focus on ourselves? And then also, we're movements by ourselves, but how can we work together, not to be competitive, but to contribute, to co-create a better life for our youths, which is going to be our focus for this segment. Our youth, what do we need to do as mature goddesses to help them to see and to reflect to them their beauty and to know that they were born to win? So, without further ado, Miss Teckela Green, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get too deep into the conversation.
I'm so excited. I'm ready to start. I have my own business. I'm the owner of Push and Posh. And what I want to do through my business, and what I do through my business, is to change everyday lives through beauty. I found my passion in helping other women feel beautiful. It does so much for them. It picks up their spirits. It helps them when they're going through life-changing events. You just can't put words on it, as far as how just doing something simple as to their lashes or hair helps them um, be encouraged to go through another day, just by making them feel beautiful. Some people went through so many things that in life, and they feel depressed or something like that, and beauty just helps. When you feel beautiful on the outside, it helps to reach into the inside.
I believe that. And we are in the beauty. You and I are both in the beauty industry. And one of the things we talk about all the time is how we are not just people that help people look beautiful. We help them feel beautiful, because when someone's sitting in your chair, you just never know what's happening in their personal life. And if we are prepared to give them that positive energy and to help them to see beyond their circumstance through the beauty that we're providing for them, then it opens up their life to so much more possibilities. So I'm Shawna Halley. For those of you who don't know who I am a life evolution strategist, period. So I speak, I coach, I'm an actor, I I'm an author, I'm a poet, I'm a lyricist. I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm not that funny, okay? I'm not that funny, but that's who I am. But our youth of today, her story, we're about to change the game. We're about to change history in the way that we proceed, not reliving his story, but focusing on her story. What is your story? Her story.
Oh goodness. Um,
Because we're being authentic and unapologetic, making our presence and contribution a generational gift to nations. So unapologetic means I own all of me. It's all good.
it's all good. I
It's all
am
good.
learning. It's all good. My story is that for the longest time I felt unworthy. I felt ashamed, and it was because of the way people treated me. It wasn't necessarily that that's really what happened. It's just that I went through certain experiences, and the way people talked to me or would tease me or things like that, I didn't feel beautiful. I felt like I was ugly. I had no idea how I looked until I probably was out of high school. Then I was like, oh, I'm a little cute. But for all those years, I just thought I was the ugly duckling, and I kept trying to figure out, why do people, I felt targeted sometimes. Like even in school, if I got good grades, then somebody would. This girl choked me one time at school, in the closet, and I just was like, and she did it just because I had straight A's. And so from then on, it just was a domino effect, and different things happened, and those life experiences shaped me. Um, I was a very trusting person, friendly person, and as I got older and things continued to happen and progress, and of course, as you get older, it's no longer just school fights or anything like that. It's more traumatic events
Right.
that happen, and I just started feeling just so unworthy.
Wow. So, since our conversation is centered around our youths, because they are the next generation of goddesses that you and I need to make sure we are trendsetters for. When you were in high school, and you were going through these challenges, did you know who to turn to or who to talk to? Was there anything anyone could have said to you that would have changed, you know, what others were projecting onto you?
I didn't really talk to anybody. I didn't know who to talk to. I talked to my mom a little bit, and of course, your mom is gonna say, "Don't worry about them," and she's like, "Don't trust anybody. You can't be friends with everybody," and that was just her blanket thing. But she had went through trials and tribulations in her teenage and adult life, and so she wasn't for being out social and being friends, and so it's not like she had a lot of advice to help me through that situation other than don't be bothered with them. But you can't go through life not being bothered with people.
Right.
And so I had to figure it out as I grew, and it took, of course, quite some time because I was figuring it out on my own.
Wow. Wow. So, did you? I know you mentioned that you didn't trust other people per se. Was there? What was your outlet? I mean, because we're gearing up to help young people to get in gear to honor their story and to live her story versus living history. What outlets do you see us providing for youths that may feel like I can't talk to my mom, I don't have friends, I don't trust people? I mean, where do we go?
Um, like you said, I didn't necessarily have an outlet, and at the time, I wasn't really talking to my dad, and so I actually started going to church because I couldn't find anything else. Um, but for the youth today, there needs to be someone that they can talk to, someone that's not going to judge them, that's going to hear them out, and there's someone that can be truthful with them about what they've been through. Because on TV and everything that you see, it's this like perfect life where nothing wrong happens. You know, that's what they see, and they think that they're supposed to live up to that. But that's not life. And so when they see people walking around like you and I, and they may not know what I've been through, but they say, "Oh my, she looks like she has it going on." Be truthful with them. Tell them what you went through to get to where you are right now.
Right. And you know, most people are feeling. Um, we're living in an age where most people are feeling like being authentic is almost like a setback. Like they don't feel like, you know, if I tell the truth about who I am or my experience or even the person that I'm choosing to become, then, you know, people are not going to like me. It's going to, you know, what's going to happen? So where do you, how do we help to bridge that gap so people understand that you you have a place, you can talk, be authentic. The real person needs to show up versus the mask, the mask, the mask.
So I actually, again, found that out through trial and error. And so I'm so grateful to be participating because I want to pass that information on so somebody else doesn't. So what actually happened to me was that I actually entered into a depression and didn't know I was depressed. My mom was like, "Something's wrong with you," and I'm still like, "No, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." Because I mean, she raised me to just survive. Like, you don't know you're strong, and that's it. There's no weakness.
Wow.
And so I felt like showing weakness was like wrong. And that's how I lived my life. And so many things kept happening, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna shake it off, and I'm gonna keep going. It's nothing wrong. I can't cry, and all of those things. And I finally entered into a depression and had no idea I was in it. I just was crying every day. I didn't know why.
Wow. Wow.
And so I actually went to counseling because by that time I had my son, and I was like, okay, something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but something's wrong, and I can't be there for him because I can't even hold myself together right now.
So did you end up going to getting help from a doctor, counselor, or something?
So I went to the counselor, and she told me, she was like, you're depressed. She said, and you're a control freak. You have to be in control. She said, if you're not in control, then you don't know what to do. She said, but that you can't always be in control. Things are not always they're not always going to go how you want them to go.
Right.
And I was like, really?
Wow.
And so she ended up telling me, okay, she couldn't, because she was a counselor, not a psychiatrist, she couldn't prescribe. So I ended up, after, I had several sessions with her, and then I went to the doctor, and he actually prescribed me something for the anxiety and depression, which then again, even though I felt relieved to finally know, like kind of sort of, what was hindering me, because I kept trying to have this image and uphold all these things because I thought I wasn't supposed to show all this weakness, instead of embracing my feelings and not to dwell in them or to sit in them, but to embrace how I was feeling and then let it go. I kept trying to ignore the feelings, thinking it was just going to pass.
Wow.
And so after that, I was on the medication, and I was like, okay, I'm good. My whole goal was to get off the medication. I don't need this. I can do this. Here again, I'm strong. I can overcome this. I don't need this medication. I'm going to take it for a little while, and then that's going to be it. Because I felt better knowing what was going on, but I felt ashamed that I needed help.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I felt so ashamed. Because, mental illness is very real.
It is.
And, it wasn't until I met somebody, my old manager at my job, and one day I just broke down and I just told her what was going on, and she was like, it's okay. I take it too. And that just liberated my soul.
You thought you were the only one.
It felt like I was the only one, even though
you knew it wasn't.
Okay.
Okay.
And so, to me, that experience is other young people need to know about that. It's okay. It's okay. If you have to go get help, it's okay. My niece recently told me that she decided she thinks she needs to go get help.
Mm,
And
that's
so
good.
I let her know Auntie had to go get help
Right.
so that she doesn't feel like she's out there alone and she has to be ashamed about it.
Right. Right. Wow. We're going to take a quick break. We have someone else, another guest joining us. But while we're rearranging the chair for our next guest, I want you to hold on to your horses. If you have any questions or comments that you want to share, because this focus of our conversation today, this hour, is about our youths. They need to know, and I'm glad you brought that up about mental health. People are so ashamed to admit that they need help. All of us need help, and if we need help, we need to go ahead and get it. And remember, you're not alone. And people in your family may call you crazy. People at school may call you crazy. Don't worry about it, because when you're better, they will know that you needed help, you got it, and you might be the person to let them know it's okay to get help. So be strong, get the help. If you have any comments to share with our youth about how they can be strong and stand up and know that they are enough, especially our goddesses, they're facing a lot right now. So put your comments in the back. We're going to take 1 minute break, and our other guests will join us, okay? So we're talking about our youths, young goddesses in the next generation, how they need to realize that they were born to win. We have Miss Teckela Green that joined us. She shared a little bit about her story, and now we have Miss Lynn that will also be joining us. Go ahead, Miss Lynn Green. Green and green.
We're not related, but we have the same last name.
Right. So before we go into our next question, will you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. My name is Lynn Green, and I'm going to school for cosmetology, and doing hair and makeup is my world and my drive and my passion.
Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So one of the things that I have noticed, and even in watching a lot of the Disney movies, I noticed that from a young age, we are programmed and conditioned to look at these movies and expect a knight in shining armor.
Yes.
How can we help our young ladies, our young goddesses, because I keep calling them goddesses because I believe goddesses are born and we don't have to wait to be crowned. There's a difference between the Disney movies you see, and I might be putting myself in whatever trouble, but I'm about to be unapologetic, okay? The Disney movies we see that is always portraying young girls waiting, or even women waiting for this knight in shining armor to come and sweep them off their feet like they have no value. Mm-hmm. So goddesses are born. That means you're born a goddess. You're born to win. And the reason I focus on the goddess piece and not the queen and the prince piece, the princess piece, is because a princess and a queen have to be crowned. Mm-hmm. So a man has to give them permission to be that person, to step into that role. Whereas a goddess is born to win. She's born in that role. So what do you guys have to say about the roles of the television and the media portraying that women, girls, have to wait for someone to come and crown them when they're already supposed to know within themselves they're goddesses?
Well, I think that it's very important for women to be self-empowered so that they understand that they don't need anybody else to help them out of a situation. But I mean, there are certain circumstances where you need help, but like you don't need some man to come and rescue you. You don't need a knight in shining armor to save the day, because you are your own knight in shining armor.
Okay.
For me, I've always watched the Disney movies. I'm a big happily ever after person. And just recently I was like, what? You need to stop doing that. You're putting too much pressure on yourself. like it. I was like, why do I have to, follow the script or the fairy tale, or when you're raised, especially girls, like, okay, you grow up, you get married. Why? Who said that we had to?
Right.
And then in all the Disney movies, like you said, they're waiting on a Prince Charming or all of those types of things, the knight in shining armor. Why?
Right.
No one's perfect. You're not gonna get that 100% perfect person, that knight in shining armor. And I feel like we set the young ladies, the young goddesses, up for failure and disappointment because they're looking for that perfect person in that perfect picture in the house and the picket fence and everything, and it may not necessarily be that way. And I've just realized that recently, and I'm over 40.
Mm-hmm.
I would not want somebody else. If I can help it, I want them to know you don't have to do it the way that everybody says you have to do it. With all of the social media and things like that, and the women that say that you have to look this way, you got to wear the waist trainer, then you got to put on the Spanx, then you got to get butt injections, that is, no. God did not make you that way. You are beautiful just the way you are. He didn't make any mistakes.
Right. I agree.
No mistakes.
I agree.
And we set them up to be stressed out and trying to live up to something that's not even true. And a lot of the pictures and things are airbrushed on social media.
Oh my gosh,
and you're trying to live up to something that is not even real.
What do you guys call it? I forgot the name. What do you call that? You take a picture before you post it. What do you do? Filter.
Yeah.
So many of the pictures are filtered that when you actually meet the person in person, it's like
they don't look anything.
Sometimes you will pass them by.
Yes.
Because they do not look anything like they do on social media. So I'm a big fan of the Disney movies as well, and one of the things I know, it to me is misleading.
Yes.
Because it cripples a young girl's mindset, because it's not helping her to work on herself. It's helping her just to train her mind to wait for somebody to provide for her. And I think one of you mentioned that it's just to train her mind to know that, okay, I don't really have to work. All I have to do is learn how to cook and clean and be beautiful, and do things around the house, but I don't necessarily have to go out and really be a boss, provide for myself, because someone else, I expect my knight in shining armor to come and do that for me.
I do too. I like to cook. But also, it's even if you have that young goddess that she is an overachiever and she is out being her own boss, you have a lot of them that still feel inadequate or not whole because some person hasn't said, oh, you're worthy to be my wife.
Right.
They shouldn't have to live like that. That is so not true.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, before you go out with someone, you need to feel whole yourself.
Right.
Don't look for someone to complete you.
Yep.
You need to complete you. You need to be comfortable in your own skin. You need to be your best company.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I love being at home with me, having a good time by myself,
Absolutely.
enjoying myself.
Right. Well, it's to me, it's an age thing, it's a maturity thing. When you kind of going through all you've gone through, then you get to the point, well, I'm not putting up with that. I'm not putting up with that. That's some bullshit.
Right.
No, we're not. So I'm going to just go be at home by myself. So, well, how do we redirect our young goddesses to start to have that mindset of to socialize, to be with other people, to date who they want to date, but don't feel like they have to commit and marry someone until they are absolutely ready for that? Don't feel the pressure. Go ahead, Lynn.
Well, that actually resonates a lot with me, because with my husband, we've been together for about 12 years, but only married for about 3 of those years. And that was because I wasn't ready. And I just wanted to be sure that that's what I wanted and that's what he wanted. And so that if things did go south, that we could part ways and nobody would be that hurt about it. And so I really feel like it helps everybody involved to to do this for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Take your time.
Yeah.
What's the rush?
Take your
Hurry is
time.
worry.
Yeah, you've got your whole life ahead of you. You know, there's no reason to rush or work on somebody else's timeline.
Right.
This is your life after all.
Exactly.
Now, peer pressure. We know all this of what we're saying because we're a little bit more mature, right?
Yes.
And we know what all we're saying, sounds really good at this point. But peer pressure.
Mm.
Let's talk about that.
I faced a lot of peer pressure and pressure from my parents and pretty much everybody around me. Told me that I should be married by 20,
Wow.
I know, it's very bizarre and kind of a lot to ask out of somebody. But I just think that it's really wrong to expect these things out of somebody. It's your life after all, and yeah, you have to worry about your happiness and what's going to make you happy.
Okay.
For me, my dad has always told me, don't hurry up to marry anybody. But he didn't tell me that till later down the road because he wasn't always around.
Oh, okay.
My mom always told me, that marriage was this very sacred thing and you don't betray that. So I never really rushed into it because she was like, this is important. You don't mess with that.
Right.
So I never really wanted to rush into it when I was, like a teenager or anything like that. But when I was in my 20s, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm supposed to be married now. Because, again, you're looking at all of this stuff going on and everybody around you is getting married and what you're in love with, I believe, for some people, not all, it's just the party, the big day, the dress.
Yeah.
Don't hurry up and get married because you're looking for someone for financial support or you feel like that's what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. And don't do it because somebody else says you need to do it.
Right.
And I'm so glad I've never been married. I'm not married now. And I'm so glad that I did not do it. Because I said to myself, if I did it, I was doing it one time and one time only. So if I'm going to do it one time only, then I can't pick somebody crazy. Then that's not going to work out.
Right. Take your time, right?
Take your time. And then I didn't learn until later that dating was so much fun when you just do it and you're just not worried about, all right, what's going to happen next? All right, we have been out this many times, so what should we be doing now? It's so much fun just to go out, have dinner, have conversation,
Just enjoy each other's company.
enjoy somebody's company, and that's it, no pressure.
Right.
And I didn't find that out till later, and I feel like if, we didn't put so many stigmas on people, some young girls feel like, okay, well, I have to do this and I have to be with this one person, can't go out with anybody else and this, that, and the third. And so sometimes they get caught up in it because they feel like, they're not supposed to go out and date and it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You have certain older people or more religious people who feel like that you shouldn't be dating around and stuff like that, but you should date.
Yeah.
I thoroughly believe in that. I had the best time of my life when I was just dating. And I didn't have to, deal with ongoing issues and arguments and all this, that, and the third. When you're younger, that's when you have the freedom to do it. And they should be able to enjoy that without
Right.
all the pressures.
Okay. Anything you want to add to that?
I think you said it. You nailed it.
Well, this topic has been coming up a lot when it comes to, people being stigmatized as, the B word or the H word because they're choosing not to just date one person. They're choosing to allow themselves to be exposed to a variety so they can make a decision.
Right.
What is it that I want? Because what I'm finding out too, even as when dating, and I think Teckela, you just mentioned that, is that we want to rush into, and I was guilty of that, where I dated someone, you do certain things, you don't even have the conversation. Next thing you know, you start planning the wedding and you start doing this, and you are ready down the road.
Yes.
With just a couple of dates and all that, and that I know I did it because I was expected to do it. Because people are going to say, okay, you know, why are you not married? But then I got to the point where, okay, I want to be happy. And what does happiness mean for me? Happiness means for me that I need to date so I can find out myself. I need to have space so I can find out about me. So I think that's important for young people to not to worry so much about what other people are saying, but try to figure out what is right for them.
Yes.
And just go forth with that. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think it's absolutely healthy and good to date around because right away you're not going to know what you want, and how else are you going to find that out? It's through experience. And there's nothing wrong with dating multiple people at the same time as long as you're honest about it. You just tell them, look, I'm just looking for a casual thing. I just want to date. I'm actually dating other people too, and that's fine, you know. And you'll be surprised how many people will accept that.
Oh yeah, they do. I think the fear is not when people tell us, you know, the fear is in our head really, because somebody's already told us all the words that you can name of that person that is seen with dating more than one person. So, but I think at the end of the day, and this goes right into our next question, why do people believe that they need permission to live the way they choose to live? Why is it so hard just to go ahead and do what I want to do versus, oh my God, what are people going to say? Why do why do we need permission? And how can we get out of that mindset?
Well, for me, I have a hard time with well, I used to. I broke out of the idea that you have to live in someone else's narrative. And so that means when someone else sees you, they put you in this storyline that makes sense in their head. And recently, through going to school and meeting a Shawna and knowing all these wonderful people around me, I've come to like be stronger in myself, and I want to live my life unfettered by someone else's narrative.
I like that because it goes back to we are the directors of our life, and we are the ones that should write the script for our life, narrative, right? Write the script for our life, and we don't need to be tag-alongs in our own life. If someone doesn't fit into my script, I said it. If someone doesn't fit into my script for what's right for me, I will write you out of my script.
Yes.
And basically means if we're here and you don't fit in, I'm going to change my direction here. Because where the attention goes, energy flows. So wherever I put my focus, so if someone is not in harmony with what I have decided is her story going forward, then you are no longer going to be a part of my script. And I don't have to be a part of your script, and I'm okay with that.
How could somebody else possibly know what's in your heart? How can somebody possibly know the potential in your soul? They don't. And so that's up for you to decide, and they don't have to be any part of that. And that's okay.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be happy. And if I don't make you happy, guess what?
That's perfectly
You're free to
fine.
find your happiness. Go ahead.
For the, I think for the young goddesses, sometimes it starts in school. I know for me, I think it did, because you have the cool kids and you want to fit in. And my son told me recently, he's like, well, I just want to make friends. Honey, you cannot make friends with everybody. Everybody is not worth being your friend. I had to tell him that. And from trying to fit in, I think that's where the permission thing comes in. And we're trying to fit in. We're trying to fit into, like Lynn said, other people's narrative of what they feel is normal.
Right.
What they feel is good or cool and you end up trying to mirror that instead of being true to yourself. But you're an individual. Nobody's handprint is like yours, so you should not try to imitate anybody else. We created to be individuals.
Right.
Nobody can do it like you do it. Nobody else can be Shawna.
Hello. I already look. I already know that.
We all have something that we were put here to give, and something and a talent that we have, and you have to embrace yourself, your whole self. And I learned that recently. Your truths, you know, your strengths, your weaknesses, you have to embrace it all. And that is going to give you the power to walk into your destiny, because you are going to be unapologetic about it. You don't need anybody's permission. You don't need someone to tell you it's okay to do it.
Right.
You're going to move like a boss.
Right. And you know, the one of the things that I have realized also is that as we continue to think about making our presence and contribution a generational gift to nations, being an individual, writing my own script, directing my own show, doesn't mean I don't care about other people. It doesn't mean I don't care, but if I have to care enough where I'm unhappy, then what is the point anyway?
Yeah.
What is the point anyway? And you know, when we think about, let's talk about, I have a piece here called Allow Light from Within. And basically, people allowing themselves to come from within and not focus so much on what's going on. Whatever you have on the inside will project itself outward, and it's called Allow Light from Within. It frees the goddess in you. It says yes to inner strength. It is loving detachment from people, places, and things that seek to confine and to control you. Allow light from within. It knows the key to transformation is love. Love is helping others to find, develop, and strengthen their wings to take flight. Allow light from within. It is regal, refreshing, revolutionizing, soul to soul. Clear the path unapologetically, authentically. It knows no fear. It is vulnerable. Clear the path. A goddess for life, a goddess of light. Let her emerge. Welcome her in. It is all love. So when we're speaking from a place of love and light, and allowing the 21st century goddess to emerge unapologetically, what are your thoughts? What tips would you share with young women that you think they need to know right now to help them to allow that goddess power, loving power, light power to emerge moving forward?
For me, I recently had a friend say, if you're always detaching from people or cutting off people, then there's something wrong with you. You need to go see somebody. And I said, nope. And I felt so confident and strong in my no. I said, no. People are here for a reason or a season. If their season is over, they have to go. And if I need to do that yearly, monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, it will happen. Because my peace means way too much to me.
Right.
When you spend so much time focusing on a draining soul, it stops the progression of your life and you don't realize it. I actually had a friend that I thought a girlfriend that I thought we would be in our 80s, sitting in a rocking chair on the porch, you know, talking and laughing like the Golden Girls. That didn't happen. I had to let her go, and it was the biggest hurt for me. Just because it became draining. I felt like I was living her pain with her. And so I had to let it go. And so you have to know when enough is enough. And that when you do say it's enough, you're still enough all by yourself.
Right.
You will constantly meet people. I had to learn that as well. When someone is gone, or you have to cut someone off, somebody else comes and replaces them that helps you get to that next level.
Right. And usually it's making room anyway.
It's making room.
Making room. When you let someone go that is now no longer, good for your highest, for your highest good, then when you let them go, you make room, because if you don't make room, that new person that's that can take you to that next
Next
level
level.
can't come
They
in
can't come in.
because there's no room for them. Lynn, what you want to add to that?
I think it's very important to understand that you are worthy and you are deserving of love and success, because everybody is. If you're alive, you deserve love and success. Um, there are certain people who will tell you that being yourself is a detriment to what you want to do, and being yourself will make you a target. And sometimes that's true, but you need to be stronger so that you can take that fire that people are shooting at you and just thrive and act like, or just be like nothing even hit you.
Convert it, right?
Yeah,
To positive energy.
yeah.
Boom. Ha ha. I got you.
Did y'all feel a fly?
Oh, wow. Well, so tell us, what do you ladies have planned, goddesses have planned for 2020? How are you going to show up unapologetically in 2020? What's your vision? What can we look forward to seeing from you?
Well, for me, my unapologetic 2020 is starting off with focusing on myself, my business, and my son, and not worrying about what anybody else thinks about it.
Okay.
Like, I recently talked to my mom, and I was sharing with her some struggles of, entrepreneurship and things like that, and trying to balance everything. And she was like, well, maybe you shouldn't be doing it right now. And I'm like,
What?
I'm like, okay, Mom, I love you to the moon and back, but I'm going to have to let that one slide off my back. I was like, because I cannot, regardless of the struggles that I go through for 2020 and, in 2019, even when I pulled up in the parking lot here, I cannot see me stopping. It gets hard. But I have, in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, I cannot see me stopping. And so that's when, even when they're the people that love you the most, you can't always listen.
Right.
You have to be true to your story.
You do.
And so that's what my 2020 vision is, to be true to my story.
Okay.
They
awesome.
just have to catch up later.
Or not.
Yeah, or not.
Or not. I'm going to focus on telling myself that I deserve it. Because for a long time, for most of my life, I have tried to keep in the background of things because I don't want people to think I'm being selfish or self-centered or conceited or any of these negative connotations and words. But there was a point in my life fairly recently, about 2 years ago, where my whole life fell apart, and I was facing a really dark path ahead, and I thought that I deserved everything bad that happened to me, because I thought, for all I know, I did do something to deserve it. But you have to consciously, every day, tell yourself that you do deserve it. And so that's what I'm going to focus on, because even in the darkest moments of my life, I've always had this small little thing in the back of my mind that says, you are worth it. You don't deserve to die. You don't. I thought that, suicide or something like that would solve the problem, and it won't.
It will not.
It's a permanent solution for a temporary problem.
Yes. That's very true.
Eminem. Sounds like
Chocolate.
an Eminem moment. Our mindful moments when we get into those spaces where we start to feel overwhelmed or frustrated and we just don't know what to do. Sometimes we want to keep going, but it's important for us to say, you know what? I deserve a break. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, if it's a day, if it's a week, it's important for you to take an M&M. And remember, mindful moments, magical moments are very important to your self-care. So as we move forward in 2020, let's remember you deserve a break. You deserve an M&M. Take it whenever you need it. And just to wrap up for me, I have a book coming out at the end of the month. Woo woo!
Yeah, woo woo.
And I will continue to collaborate, to connect, to make our presence and contribution a generational gift to nations. If you want to know more about what I'm doing, go to www.prismoftransformation.com and connect with me. Jean have something for us. So can you guys share how people can connect with you, just in case they want to know?
Okay. I'm on Instagram as crazy.finesse and crazy.blend.finesse.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Also, I can be reached, well, on Facebook and Instagram, it's Push and Posh, or you can look me up under Teckela Green. I can also be reached on my business phone at 804-234-3336.
Awesome. Well, we are at Stonehenge Country Club in Midlothian. We are wrapping it up. We want to say thank you to our very lovely host, Miss Jean Tillery, for this opportunity and this space, and then also for the staff here at Stonehenge for allowing us the time to share this space very quietly. They've been very, very supportive. And thank you so much, Mr. Michael, for your time. Michael Hall, he's the videographer and technical support in the back.
Yay for video support.
Thank you, ladies, for joining me. I appreciate you, and I know you're going to do great things in 2020. Thank you for being here.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
See you guys later. Thank you so much for joining us live.